Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Street Fighter 2 Sagat by Jada Toys. And huge thank you to the homie June for sending this out to me. I do appreciate it. You're always awesome. I'm very excited about this figure. One thing that kind of caught me off guard when I first took him out of the shipping box was the size of the packaging. I didn't realize that Sagat was so much bigger than the rest of the Street Fighter characters. I knew that he was a big guy, but I didn't think that it would require like this big, like deluxe style packaging. Like this box is humongous. It's kind of crazy. It does have like the same, style and theme as the other Street Fighter figures from Jada. It's got like this arcade artwork up front that looks really cool. Through the window, you are able to see the figure along with the accessories. Up here, we have some, energy bars. On the side, we get a little bit of artwork. On the back, we get a look at the figure itself. And then, the character select screen down here. They're running through these guys, man. They're doing a great job. I can't wait for Bullrog and who else? Who else do we have? I think they've shown almost all these characters on like at conventions. But yeah, I can't wait for Bullrog and what's his dude's name? T-Bird. So yeah, man, they're killing it. But yeah, that's about it for the packaging. It's familiar, but again, it's a little surprising because of how humongous it is. But let's go ahead and get this badass dude out of the box and see what we have going on. Alrighty, so here we have Sagat right out of the box. And goddamn, this thing is freaking awesome. Once again, Jada Toys did a phenomenal job, as they always do when it comes to Street Fighter. But man, I feel like with every release, they're getting better and better. Like, man, I have a lot of Jada Toys figures. I know what they're all about. And, I pretty much know what to expect when I take one of them out of the box. It's like a high quality figure. It's going to be fun to play with, all that stuff. But I was still surprised by how good this figure felt when I started messing around with it. Like the joints have a perfect amount of tension. Everything feels good. Everything moves smoothly. He's hella fun to play with. It's a great looking figure. Like the details on him look nice. The sculpting work is great. And just all around, it's just a phenomenal piece, man. Jada Toys, they are some of the best in the game. Look at this thing. They did a great job with the scar on the chest. The head sculpts look good. That's one area where they've improved dramatically since they started, like the first couple of Street Fighter figures, they had okay head sculpts, but like the paint didn't really do them justice. At this point, they're killing it with the head sculpts. Sagat's head sculpt looks really nice. I love the texture on the boxing trunks here. It looks really good. The arm wraps look nice. Just all the way around, a really beautiful looking figure and a whole lot of fun to play with. That's no surprise. All Jada Toys figures can be best described as hand candy. Like they're always fun to mess around with. And Sagat was like, obviously he was fun to play around with, but I was having more fun playing with it than I expected. Like when I took him out of the box, I sat there playing around with the figure before continuing on with the review. So that's always a good sign. But man, this thing, it turned out so freaking dope. And the details on Sagat are really well done. There's some nice sculpting work on him, and the paint is really nice. Paint is really the area where I feel that Jada Toys has improved the most. Like the first couple of Street Fighter figures, they looked okay when it comes to the paint, but they definitely had some room for improvement. I think at this point, with like Sagat and a lot of the other recently released Street Fighter figures, they're exactly where they need to be when it comes to the paint. Like everything looks good and it fits the style of the figure perfectly. So yeah, I think they're doing a great job with the paint work now, and it's cool to see like how far they've come in such a short amount of time. But yeah, starting off at the head here, I think this is a really good looking head sculpt. He's got that intimidating grimace that looks good. You can see that the lips have a little bit of paint on there to make them stand out against the rest of the face. The eye looks good. It's mostly white and then outlined by black, so that's nice. And then he does have his badass looking eye patch. It's got to be tough to be a fighter with an eye patch, huh? Then he does have this scar on his head. And this scar is actually sculpted. It's not just painted on there. He has a scar on his neck too, but that one is just painted. It still looks good though. But yeah, man, I think this is a great looking head sculpt. Look at that, man. Badass. Yeah, they did a great job there. And then moving on to the body, as you could see, it's not just like one solid flesh tone. You could see that there's like subtle washes and dry brushes and things like that, but it's very subtle, but super effective. It looks really good. And then he does have this scar on his chest. And, they went ahead with a like solid brown color on the scar, which is cool because it kind of makes it look like he's had the scar for a long time or something. So that's dope. And then check out like right here in the bicep, there's some like variation of color. like different tans and browns and stuff. But they didn't overdo it anywhere, so that's really nice to see. But look at all that. See that? Perfectly done washes and things. Very cool. And then he does have the arm wraps. Not a whole lot going on there, but they do look good. And the trunks are nice too. Look at the colors. They definitely pop and they're super clean. And when you look close, you could see that there's some nice like sculpted texture work in there. Look at that. It looks like actual fabric, you know? So that's always nice to see. And then the legs look good. He does have pinless knees and elbows. So that's nice. Gives it that very clean look. He's got the wraps down here at the feet. That just like on the forearms, you know, they look really good. So yeah, man, no complaints when it comes to the details or the paint or the sculpting. In my opinion, everything looks really good. And then for accessories, Sagat doesn't come with a whole lot, but he does come with some cool stuff, including 2 different heads. This is the first one. Obviously, it's the one that we've already looked at, but I do think it's a great looking head sculpt for the character. And then here's the second head sculpt. As you could see, once again, he does have a very angry and intimidating facial expression. This time around, he does have some teeth showing, so that's nice. I would say this one probably looks a little bit more angry than the previous one. But yeah, man, I think that both head sculpts are really nice. I don't know if I have a favorite. I think I like both of them equally. And then he does come with 2 different sets of hands. First off, we have a pair of fists. And then for the second set, we get a pair of open martial arts type of hands. And these look really good too. And you know, typically, obviously, it's like the more sets of hands, the better. But for me, I'm perfectly fine with what he comes with. The fist and the open hands are enough for the character. It's not like he needs gripping hands or anything like that. So even though there's not a whole lot when it comes to the hands, I'm happy with what's here. And just like a lot of the other JadaToys-Street Fighter figures, Sagat comes with like a power effect. And this is really dope. As you can see, the effect itself is made of like a translucent, fiery looking plastic. Then it does have this translucent stand that just plugs into the bottom there. Has a couple of points of articulation so you could adjust it. And yeah, this is dope, man. It's cool that they give us stuff so that we could show off the powers of these characters. And you could definitely make some cool displays with this, you know? It may be hard to use for photos because the stand is kind of big, but as far as like for displays, it could look really cool if you have like a bunch of Street Fighter characters and all their powers flying around. That'd be dope. So yeah, I like this. So yeah, as far as accessories go, there's not a whole lot here, but I am pretty satisfied with what they included. I especially like the 2 heads and the 2 sets of hands, and the power effect is really cool too. And then for some size comparisons, here we have Sagat alongside the JadaToys-Street Fighter Ryu and the JadaToys-Street Fighter Fei Long. And as much as I love these first couple of Street Fighter figures, Sagat and some of the other recent releases are so much better. It's crazy to see how much they've improved in such a short amount of time. Like, they haven't been making Street Fighter figures for 20 years. They've only been doing it for what, like 2 or 3 years or something like that. It's been a very short amount of time, and they've just gotten better and better. And that's saying a lot because they came out of the gate like guns blazing. Fei Long is a really nice figure. I still love this thing. But as far as like from an execution standpoint, Sagat is so much better. Like, he feels better, the paintwork is nicer, like the joints are smoother. There's just a lot of little things here and there that are way better on some of their new releases. And you know, a lot of the design elements are the same, obviously the articulation setup and all that, but just as far as execution goes, they're doing such a better job with the newer releases, and I can't wait to see what they do, man. Like, in the future, if they continue on this path, they're going to be putting out the best things available, especially at this price. And then next up, we have them alongside my 2 favorite JadaToys Street Fighter figures. Over here, we have Guile. On the opposite side, we have Dalsim. And Sagat is definitely on the same level of these guys. If I was making a top 3 JadaToys Street Fighter figures, it would be these guys. I don't know how exactly I would rank them, but it would definitely be these 3 as my favorites. Fei Long would be very close with them too at number 4. But yeah, man, these 3 are definitely the best they've done so far, in my opinion. I have Blanca here. I haven't opened him yet, but we'll see what happens if he's able to knock one of these 3 out of the top 3 spots. But man, they are killing it. It's a good problem to have, to not be able to decide which 3 are the best, you know? And then here we have them alongside some other random JadaToys figures. Over here we have David Martinez from Cyberpunk. And over here we have the legendary Universal Monsters Wolfman. And I don't think people give the JadaToys Universal Monsters figures the respect they deserve. They were killing it back then. I absolutely love this figure. I mean, I'm a big fan of Universal Monsters, so, you know, that plays a big part in it. But JadaToys killed it. Like, when this came out, it really kind of gave us a preview of what was to come from JadaToys, because again, this was a great figure, but right after this with the Street Fighter stuff, they just improved, you know, and got better and better and better, but this is kind of where it started at for me. When I saw the Universal Monster figures from them, I was like, damn, like, I don't know much about Jada Toys, but they killed it with these, and, can't wait to see what else they do. And so far, they haven't disappointed one bit. And then next up, we have them alongside some OG Street Fighter figures. What we have here are the JadaToys Street Fighter T-Bird and the JadaToys Street Fighter Sagat. And yeah, man, these things are still really great figures. The sculpting and the paintwork on them is absolutely amazing, especially for their time. I think these came out in like 2005 or something. And yeah, man, these things, they just did such a great job of balancing good articulation with amazing sculpting. But yeah, the articulation on the Jada Toys figures is kind of like what I wish we got out of these Soda figures back in the day. But yeah, man, it's cool to see all these guys together. And it's just crazy to see how things change over the years, But man, I do think that if you have like a bunch of these JadaToys Street Fighter figures, that they do fit in pretty well with the Jada Toys stuff. So, that's an option if you want to fill out the ranks, or if they put out a character that Jada Toys doesn't or whatever, they do look pretty good together. And then here we have them alongside the Marvel Legends War Journal 2-pack Punisher and the Marvel Legends Secret Wars Black Suit Spider-Man. And then here we have him alongside the Mattel Muhammad Ali and the Mafex Daredevil. And then of course we have to get him in here alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and the Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. And then for the most important size comparison, here we have Sagat alongside the NECA Toys, Mirage Comics, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kirby, aka the King Jack Kirby. And then on the opposite side over here, we have my original character, Odious. This figure is available now. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. If you want to find out some more information, I'll leave my website down there as well. And I do have another Kickstarter for Odious figures coming very soon. It's going to be a bunch of variants of this like same figure, so I can't wait to put that out. It's going to be pretty damn awesome, so keep an eye out for that. And just like every other Jada Toys Street Fighter figure, the articulation on Sagat is freaking awesome. I'm a huge fan of the articulation setup that Jada Toys uses on Street Fighter. It's pretty much the same all the way across the board with, a few exceptions, but man, I absolutely love it because it allows you to put the characters in natural, dynamic, like really great looking fighting poses. So I love the articulation setup on these guys. So I've been having a lot of fun playing around with this figure. On top of him having like this amazing articulation design, the figure just feels really good right out of the box. Like all the joints move smoothly. Everything just felt very nice. Playing with the figure is definitely like a fun experience. It's a hand candy type of situation. And I have a habit of just automatically warming up a lot of my figures. Like for this guy, I had some hot water ready to go. I figured I would have to warm him up a little bit, but I didn't. As soon as I took him out of the box, like you could feel right away, like, damn, everything feels good on this, and everything moved. I didn't have to warm up one joint on this guy. And I've been playing with this figure quite a bit. All the joints still feel good. There's like a perfect amount of tension. So on top of having amazing articulation, just the execution of how everything feels is so like high level, the figure feels amazing, and it's just a crazy amount of fun to play with. So I'm very happy with the articulation and the hand-friendly nature of this figure. But let's go ahead and see what we have going on here, starting off at the head. So he does have movement at the lower neck and at the upper neck, which I absolutely love. It allows you to get him to look down to about right there, which is pretty nice. And then he could look up to about right there, which is pretty good. And then we do get some really cool like tilting action. I'm always a huge fan of that. And then he could look side to side. So really good stuff at the head and the neck. This is a really important joint in my opinion. It kind of enhances a lot of the other joints around it. So yeah, I love what we have going on here with the head and the neck. And then for the torso, I love the torso setup. It kind of reminds me of like a Mafex figure. We have a diaphragm cut and then a ball joint at the waist. Using both of those, he's able to crunch forward to about right there, which is really impressive for such a big figure. And you could, bring his head and neck forward to kind of add a little bit more to the illusion of him crunching forward. So that's really good. And then he could go back a really nice amount too. Look how far it could go back without like a bunch of huge gaps. There's a little bit of a gap right there, but it's not like a crazy eyesore. So yeah, the amount that it could go back is really impressive too. And then we get some great like side to side. And he's able to twist at the waist. You can't really twist at the diaphragm because of the shape of the torso. So you're going to get your twist from the waist, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, I love this, man. I think this type of setup right here with the head and the neck and the torso just allows you to get into like really dynamic, cool looking fighting poses, So yeah, I love that. And then for the arms, he does have butterfly joints at the shoulders that go back to about right there, which is pretty good for like punching poses. And then or not punching, but, you know, cocking his arm back, getting ready to punch. And then he could bring his arm forward to about right there, which is really nice. And, you know, he has butterfly joints, so they're not really able to like shift up and down or anything. But because of the way they did the head, you could kind of give the illusion that the shoulders are sitting a little higher, you know, because you could kind of duck his head down, and it kind of gives the illusion that the shoulders are sitting higher than they are, you know, which is awesome for like these, you know, getting ready to fight poses, these square up poses, you know. So this is really dope. Like I said, the head and the neck just adds a lot to the joints around it, which is really interesting. So really good stuff here at the shoulders, the torso, the head, and the neck. And then he does have ball joints at the shoulders as well, so they go all the way around with no problem at all. Really smooth. You could bring the arms up to about right there, which is really nice. We have upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that get a really good bend. Check that out. Boom. So good. So you could get him into these defensive stances. So good stuff there. And then he does have a swivel at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist. And then for the legs, I love what they did with the legs. Because, again, he's a big character, but the legs are able to move a really nice amount. So first off, he could do the splits, which is crazy. So you could get like a crazy high kick. Bam. So that's nice. Legs don't really go... Oh, they go back a decent amount, but they start to flare out a little bit. They go forward a really nice amount. So this, like the trunks right here, are kind of soft plastic. So you kind of get out of the way when you're when you're kicking the legs forward. So that is awesome right there. Then, you know, he does Muay Thai, so of course you want to be able to get like these really nice like flying knee positions. Bam, look at that. That is so dope right there. Look how far the knee goes up. So really good stuff at the hip area. And then he does have upper thigh swivel, which is very nice. He has double jointed knees that get a good bend. Again, the trunks get in the way a little bit, but because they're soft plastic, it doesn't really hinder it all that much. And then he does have lower leg swivel, and they put that swivel perfectly right there on the leg wraps, so don't see it or anything. And then he's able to move his foot forward to about right there, bring it up to right there. We have some rocking ankles, and then he does have toe hinge, which is really dope. So yeah, man, the articulation on him is just phenomenal. Like, you could get him into all kinds of great poses, and on top of that, the figure is just so much fun to play with, and you know, just all the way around. I wish every company, like every, you know, domestic company, not counting imports and stuff, but I wish like every domestic company had articulation like this. You know, Marvel Legends, McFarlane, Mattel, all of them. I wish they had articulation that was as enjoyable as what we see on the JadaToys Street Fighter figures, because every single one of their figures is so much fun to play with. It doesn't matter like the character design, the size, none of that. They just prioritize articulation, and they just always do a great job with not only the articulation design, but making sure that their figures are hand-friendly and enjoyable to actually pose around and play with. So yeah, man, they kill it with the articulation on every single one of their figures, and Sagat is no exception. So I'm very happy with the way the articulation on him turned out. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I absolutely love this figure. Through and through, I think that Jada Toys did a great job on every single aspect of this figure. It looks amazing, it's well sculpted, it's got some great detail, the paintwork is nice, he's got some cool accessories. I guess you could say that maybe he should have come with a little bit more, but honestly, there's so much other good stuff here that I don't even mind that he came with just a few things. But the accessories that he does have are pretty cool. Like, I like the two heads, I like the two sets of hands, and the energy effect is nice. So I'm happy with that stuff, but I could see how somebody would say that like maybe he should have come with a little bit more. But for me, I don't even care, because the figure itself is so well done, and it's just a phenomenal piece. So I'm so happy with it. I'm having such a good time with this figure. The articulation is insane, you know, but that's to be expected when it comes to Jada Toys. We already know that they've kind of mastered articulation. They know exactly what they're doing, they know what we want, and they pretty much execute perfectly every single time. I love that this figure is so hand-friendly and such a joy to play with. That's important to me. Like, sometimes just the way a figure feels will like pretty much sway like my opinion on it. You know, like a figure could look awesome and everything and come with the best accessories and, you know, the greatest detail, but then once you have it in hand, it's kind of like, oh, okay, this looks cool, but whatever. Like this figure right here, I thought that it looked amazing already, but then when I actually started to play with the figure, I was kind of blown away because it just feels so good in hand. Definitely hand candy type of material. So, and you know, right now I'm all excited and hyped up about this figure. So, you know, maybe there's flaws here that I can't see because of my excitement. So I'm gonna have to like look at this again in a couple of weeks and be like, was there something I missed? But I highly doubt it because everything here was done at such a high level that, you know, they just, I can't see like me calming down and then going like, oh yeah, this could have been better. I highly doubt it. I really just think that Jada Toys did an amazing job on this piece, as they always do. So yeah, man, they killed it. I can't wait to see what else Jada Toys is doing, because one thing that's so exciting about this figure is the fact that it feels like an improvement on what was already like amazing. You know, like Jada Toys has already been doing really dope figures, but it seems like with every single release, they're better, or they feel better, they look better, the paintwork is nicer, and just overall the execution is at a higher level. So I can't wait to see what they do in the future. I'm really looking forward to the Jada Toys Scooby-Doo figures. I'm not even like a big old Scooby-Doo fan, but I can't wait for those figures. They're going to be so much fun. And then recently there was an article that was released by Skybound that was talking about some potential licensing partners. Jada Toys was mentioned in that, along with some other companies, but I really hope that Jada Toys is able to give us like 1/12 scale invincible figures that are at this level, because man, I just want to see them doing comic book figures, you know? Like I love the Street Fighter figures, but I'm not like, I don't have like an attachment to Street Fighter at all. I played it growing up and it's cool. I love the characters and all that, but it's not something that I would say like I'm a diehard fan of. But you know, Invincible and just comic book stuff in general, that's like, that's all me right there. So I would love to see Jada Toys get their hands on something comic book, and Invincible is absolutely perfect for them. So hopefully we see that soon. And like I said, if the quality that they're doing is improving continuously, by the time they're able to release like Invincible figures, I can't wait to see what they're capable of at that point, you know, because they just seem to be getting better and better. But yeah, man, I love this figure. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave a link in the description below so you can pre-order this figure from Big Bad Toy Store. Using those links helps out the channel, so I do appreciate it. But yeah, get your hands on this guy any way that you can, because you won't regret it. And with that, I think that's it. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. Thank you very much. Peace.